Yes, good morning, everyone. Yes, let's begin with today's lecture. So, I'm going to start from the one of the questions which we were discussing previously. So, let me just take up this question. Yeah, this was fx is 0 from minus pi to 0 and sin x from 0 to pi. This was discussed in the previous lecture. We were able to compute its Fourier series expansion. Just a minute. It's taking some time to reload. Yeah. So there is one point which there's a minor correction here. Actually, when you compute Bn, right? I just hope everyone is able to see the screen. Which question we are talking about? You are referring, right? So when you are able to compute Bn, then I told you that this will turn out to be very zero using this formula 2 sine A sine B over cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. But the point is, this will be the calculation for, okay, just a minute. Yeah, just 1 second. Just give me one moment. My pen is not connected. So when you have this Bn computed, yes, so this Bn is turning out to be 0, but this is actually for n not equals to 1. On the similar lines, the way I told you that An which we have computed is actually having this n square minus 1 coming into the denominator. So that was defined only for n not equals to 1. So for n equals to 1, we computed A1 separately. We did this calculation yesterday, right? We did compute A1 separately, and that coincidentally turned out to be 0. So now the point is, we are also required to compute B1 separately, because I missed that point actually. When I checked that calculation again, then I saw that, okay, Bn also is having I'll show you. This is Bn 1 by pi 0 to pi sin x sin nx dx. This will be precisely Bn, and when you will be using the formula to compute this one, so it will be 1 by 2 pi minus sine 1 minus nx over 1 minus n minus sine 1 plus n x over 1 plus n, and then you will be substituting the limit 0 to pi. So it's true that after substituting the upper and lower limit, this will become 0, but since this 1 minus n is coming in the denominator, so that means this computation of Bn is for n not equals to 1. So what we need to do is, we need to compute B1 separately. So let's do that computation, because that will give a modification to our answer. So let me just do that. Let's compute B1 again. Okay. So when you compute B1 by putting n is equal to 1, so this will be sin x into sin x dx. Yes. So I'm giving all of you 1 minute. You tell me the value of B1. It's just an integral you need to solve. You tell me what is the value of B1 which you are getting. Yes, Vidushi?
हम जो ये ऊपर वाला बी एन निकाला है मैम, ये कॉस में नहीं आएगा? 2 साइन ए साइन बी कॉस ए माइनस बी माइनस कॉस ए प्लस बी।
उसके बाद इंटीग्रल करके फिर से साइन आ जाएगा ना, पहले कॉस आएगा। मैंने
ठीक है
आफ्टर,
मैम, ठीक है मैम, ठीक है।
ठीक है, या so b1 we are computing, and b1 is actually turning out to be half. This is very easy calculation. Sine square x, we will be using the formula 1 minus cos 2x by 2, and then very easy to solve this integral. So b1 is half. So therefore our modified answer of the series is a naught by 2 plus summation. This is the again I'm writing the general expression cos nx plus sorry bn. This is our general expression, and now we know that from an cos nx also we separated into a1 separately, and then a rest of the an separately, and a2 was turning a1 was turning out to be 0. So this was a naught by 2 1 by pi, a1 was 0, so this summation is from n is equal to 2 to infinity a2. The value of a I'm sorry, the value of a1 is 0, value of an is turning out to be this over n square minus 1 into cosine nx plus, what about bn's? So you see all bn's are 0 for all n not equals to 1. So only b1 term is there, right? So out of these infinitely many terms of bn sin nx, so there will be only one term coming, which is b1 into sin x, because rest of bn's are 0, and b1 because turning out to be 1 by 2. If b1 would also have been 0, so the answer would have finished there, but b1 is actually turning out to be non-zero. So there will be one more term coming over here, 1 by 2 sine x, because it is bn into sine nx. So for n is equal to 1, it will be sine x, b1 into sine x, and b1 is 1 by 2, which we have computed. So this is actually the final answer. So you do this modification in the answer of that question, and in fact we will consider this question today as well with the new concept. I want to introduce you new concept through examples. So this example we will be picking up, right? So I just hope this is clear to everyone, and now we are moving ahead towards the next topic, which is convergence of Fourier series. So now we are going to talk about convergence of Fourier series. So since it is an infinite series, so we need to know whether it is convergent, when it is convergent, and so on. So basically, if you just look at Fourier series, the ways to determine convergence of Fourier series, they are different from the power series, because power series had altogether different ways. So in this, we are not going to focus too much on the determining the convergence. Rather, we'll be directly using a theorem, right, which will help us to identify the convergence. Means you can understand the question asked will not be whether this is convergent or not. Rather, the question asked will be this is converging to what value. We are interested in most of the time sum of the series, because see, you are able to now write Fourier series for any function n is equal to, say, this is the general the particular Fourier series expansion for period 2 pi, and we also know the general one, a naught by 2, and then an cos n pi by lx plus bn sine n pi by lx. You know, here a naught, an, bn are different. Here a naught, an, or bn are different, the definitions. Okay, so now you want to know that this infinite series, whether it is converging or not. So there are some conditions which are going to tell you that when it is converging, right? But before that, before the talking about conditions of convergence, we have conditions of existence of Fourier series. Just like you had, when does power series exist, when does, sorry, Taylor series exist, because we know the function has to be infinitely many times differentiable for it to be written as Taylor series. Similarly, there are conditions for Fourier series. So conditions of existence, so let me just write those conditions. These are not going to be much useful from the questions point of view. This is just additional information which I am giving you. So we are able to write a Fourier series for a function fx. Actually, we already know this one condition, periodic, that fx should be periodic. We already know the meaning of the periodic. Its integrals, fx and its integrals are finite, because you know, while computation of these a naught, an, and bn, they are nothing but integral. So they should be existing, right? The integrals should not be becoming infinite. Actually, that is the reason, because whenever we see 1 over 1 minus n coming into the denominator, so obviously the integral should be well defined. So we immediately put the condition n should be not equals to 1. So whatever we are computing should be finite and well defined and existing. So the function and its integral should be taking finite values only. So we are not able to write Fourier series for the functions which are going to take infinite values, right? So the function should be also finite and its integral should also be finite. The third condition is fx is piecewise continuous. So this we have just seen in so many examples. The way we are, the kind of examples we are doing to derive the Fourier series expansion, we know the kind of functions we are getting. Either they are continuous functions or they are piecewise continuous function. You know, for this kind of functions, right? Sorry. Yeah. So there are jump discontinuities allowed only in these kind of functions. I don't know what is happening to this Zoom today. Yeah, these kind of functions. So you have jump discontinuity, or you also have the continuous kind of functions. So in short, it is piecewise continuous. And then the fourth condition is fx has finite number of maxima and minima. Right, finite number of maxima and minima means the points where it is going to take the maximum value within its period, so that is going to be finite, right? Maximum or minimum wherever value it is going to take, so that is a finite within its period. Otherwise you see over the whole domain the values, the where it is becoming maximum, they are infinite, but within its period, so this is finite number. So these conditions are known as Dirichlet conditions, but we will not be actually using or verifying any one of them. This is just for additional information. Now we are going to particularly talk about convergence, that when does a Fourier series is going to converge. So this theorem tells you if fx and f dash x are piecewise continuous on the interval minus L to L, then the Fourier series of fx given by star means you already know what is a Fourier series expansion, this one. This is a general one. If you put L is equal to pi, you will get the same one. So this general one I'm talking about, I'm referring to this star. So then the Fourier series of fx given by star is convergent. So that means you are telling now, getting the conditions for convergence, that the function should be piecewise continuous and its derivative should also be piecewise continuous. So if this is happening, the Fourier series is going to converge on this interval, whatever interval is given to us, minus L to L, right? So now more important question is convergent to what, right? So firstly you should understand the meaning of what do you mean by the limit of convergence, right? So if I have written an infinite series in front of you, a naught plus this one, which is our usual Fourier series, so what do you mean by its convergence? We mean by its convergence that this sum is going to make sense. The infinite sum of the terms is going to make sense. So this sum is going to take a finite value. Obviously, it is going to be a function of x, as you see, because on left hand side, the kind of functions for which we are writing Fourier series, they are functions of x. But when you put a particular value of x in that interval, so it is going to take a finite value. It cannot take an infinite value. That's what the meaning of convergence is, that you keep on adding infinitely many terms but still the sum remains finite. So that means the series is convergent. This is the basic meaning of convergence, and this is, I hope, clear to you even from the previous semester, that what do we mean by convergence, that this sum should be finite, this sum should be well defined. Now the question is, okay, we understand that if fx and f dash x are piecewise continuous, then the Fourier series is going to convergent, means this sum is going to be finite. So the next question is, what is this sum, right? Again, to recall you from the previous semester, we used to talk about that, okay, determine if the GP series, you remember, determine if the GP series is convergent, and if convergent, find its sum. So we were able to find the sum of the GP series, the condition of convergence of GP series. If you remember, what was the condition of convergence? Mod r less than 1. And then we say if it is convergent, then its infinite sum is going to be a by 1 minus r. So now we have, for Fourier series, we have answered this thing, the condition of convergence. Now we are saying if convergent, what is the sum? So this is something we need to answer, and that result is following in the continuation of this statement, right? So this was just to recall you. So let me now write further what is the continuation of this statement. Then the Fourier series is convergent on this interval, and so there are few remarks. So the first point is series converge to fx at the points of continuity, right? So now we are talking about particular points, because as a series it is convergent, but when I'm talking about convergent at a point, that if I put this particular value of x, then what is the final sum of the series which I will be getting? So the final sum is going to be f of x. So I will explain you all this with the help of an example. So firstly, let me just complete this statement. Means if x happens to be a point where the function is continuous, point of continuity basically means the point where your fx is continuous. So then the limit of the series, the sum of the series, is just the f value at that function, and function value is always known to us, the function is given to us, we can always find the value, right? And the second point is at the point of discontinuity. At the point of discontinuity, say we have a point, okay, the series converge to half of limit left hand limit plus right hand limit at that point, right? So what do we mean by this? That if there is a point of discontinuity and we want to know where the series is going, so actually this is going to be, now what kind of discontinuities are allowed in your function? The jump discontinuity. And in jump discontinuity, what happens? The left hand limit and the right hand limit takes different values, right? So if they take different values, so what is the, how we are going to decide the function value? Because from left there is a different value, from right there is a different value. So function value is different, but what is this limit of convergence? It is the average of both the sides. So it's half of LHL plus RHL. So I'll explain you now this with the help of an example, right? And we will also talk about the third condition, what is going to happen at the end points. Okay, let me just write that because it will complete this statement, it will finish this statement. Endpoints. Endpoints, what are the endpoints? Minus L and L, means your interval is having two endpoints, minus L and L. So endpoints pe what is happening, right? So endpoint is usually a point of discontinuity. So at endpoints, the series converges to, again, half of left hand limit at right endpoint plus right hand limit at left endpoint, right? I'll explain you these all points one by one. This completes the statement of the theorem. So let me now take a particular example with which I will explain all these particular points to you, that what is actually happening. So let's consider the same example to understand this convergence. So the this example which we in the very first in previous lecture we discussed this example. So you have minus pi to pi function is given to you, and we know this is a periodic one. So again, to recall you the graph of the function, we know this to this. So these are the values, and then again this to this. So if this is say minus pi and this is pi, so this is the graph of the function. So now we already know its Fourier series expansion. But right now, when you are telling the what is the sum of the series, so you can find these limits or the points of convergence of the series even without knowing the Fourier series, right? So because you see the above 3 points which I have mentioned, these 3 points, point number 1, 2, 3, they are giving you the limits of convergence only from the information coming from the function itself. You do not need Fourier series expansion to find the points, find the values where it is converging, right? So we do have Fourier series expansion for this function, but I'll take up that later. Right now it's not required. So suppose the question is find the series limit or the value where the series means obviously Fourier series we are referring to, the Fourier series of above function converges. So means they are trying to know what is the limit of convergence at x is equal to 0. So they will give you a particular point that at this particular point tell us that where this series is convergent. So x is equal to 0 is here, right? So now what you have to do, you have to look at these point number 1, 2 and 3, and whatever point they have given to you, firstly you have to decide about it, where it is, whether it is a point of continuity or it is a point of discontinuity or it is a end point. So there are only three kind of points for any given kind of function for which you are writing Fourier series. Is this point clear? You should be knowing first whether this point is a point of continuity or it is a point of discontinuity or it is an end point, because accordingly you will use the information. So yes, so tell me at x equals to 0 whether this is a point of discontinuity or is it a point of continuity. At x is equal to 0, the function is continuous or discontinuous? This is what I mean by asking. Yes. Is the function continuous at x is equal to 0 or discontinuous? You can just say graphically. Yes. Anybody knows the answer?
I'm continuous.
Continuous, right? You can see there is the domain is continuous from minus pi to pi. It just represents a continuous function y is equal to x. So the only actually points of discontinuity in this function definition are the end points. Actually, even in between there is no discontinuity. So x is equal to 0, you can see it's a point of continuity. Had your function definition be given, like suppose we were doing some other examples, suppose उसमें ऐसे होता minus x x 0 पे कुछ break point होता, then we need to check कि left hand limit क्या है, right hand limit क्या है, and accordingly decide. We'll do that kind of examples also. But right now for this particular example, we know at x is equal to 0, my function is continuous. So howsoever you want to verify, it's just the definition is given continuously over a domain. Right. So once you identify that it is a point of continuity, so according to the above three written points, the series means the Fourier series is going to converge to f of 0. So the function value itself at that point. Now what is f of 0? So to find f of 0, you just plug in that value in the function definition and you will get that. So what is fx is equal to x when you put x equals to 0 is 0. F of 0 is 0. You can see graphically also. You can say कि graph तो हमें given नहीं होगा, that I understand, but you just find that value by putting in the function. Is this clear?
हाँ
Yes.
मैम, एक क्वेश्चन का मैम मतलब क्या होगा मैम, फाइंड द सीरीज लिमिट व्हेन द फोरियर सीरीज कन्वर्जेस टू 0। मैम अगर फोरियर सीरीज इक्वल टू 0 हो रही है तो यही तो उसकी सीरीज लिमिट होती है।
फोरियर सीरीज इक्वल नहीं, कन्वर्ट x की वैल्यू 0 है, x की वैल्यू 0 जब आपकी, अब फोरियर सीरीज एक एक्सपेंशन है. लेट मी टेल यू व्हाट वाज द आंसर टू दिस क्वेश्चन. इसकी सीरीज थी 2 sin x minus sine 2x by 2 plus sine 3x by 3, राइट. नाउ यू रिमेम्बर जो हम पावर सीरीज में किया करते थे. पावर सीरीज में जब आप किसी भी पावर सीरीज का आंसर करते थे कि ये कन्वर्जेंट है कि नहीं है, तो द क्वेश्चन वाज फॉर व्हाट वैल्यूज ऑफ एक्स दिस इज कन्वर्जेंट और फॉर व्हाट वैल्यूज ऑफ एक्स दिस इज डाइवर्जेंट और कंडीशनली कन्वर्जेंट और व्हाटसोएवर. सो जब भी पावर सीरीज मीन एक्स का फंक्शन होती है आपकी सीरीज की टर्म्स, तो आप एक डेफिनेट आंसर नहीं दे सकते हो कि ये सीरीज हमेशा कन्वर्ज करेगी या हमेशा डाइवर्ज करेगी. इसीलिए वहां पे हमारे पास एक अलग टेक्निक थी. बट फोरियर सीरीज के लिए जो आपको रिजल्ट बताया गया है कि फोरियर सीरीज जो है कन्वर्ज करेगी कि नहीं करेगी, तो यू सी उसमें कोई कंडीशन नहीं है. सिर्फ एक ही कंडीशन है कि फंक्शन और उसका डेरिवेटिव पीस वाइज कंटिन्यूस होने चाहिए. हम वो वेरीफाई नहीं कर रहे हैं बिकॉज मैंने आपको बोला था कि ये क्वेश्चन नहीं पोज किया जा रहा है आपसे कि बताओ सीरीज कन्वर्जेंट है कि नहीं. रादर आपको बताया गया है ऑलरेडी कि assuming you are given the information series is convergent, just find the limits. There are two questions, convergent है कि नहीं है. हम अब आपको ऑलरेडी बता रहे हैं it is convergent. Now you just tell convergent है तो इसका वो किस लिमिट को, what is the limit of convergence, मीन सीरीज का इनफाइनाइट टर्म्स का सम किस वैल्यू को जा रहा है, वो वैल्यू डिटरमाइन की जा रही है. is this fine? अब वो अलग अलग वैल्यू आएगी ना. अब आप इनफाइनाइट एक्सपेंशन में x को 0 पुट करो तो अलग वैल्यू आएगी, x को 1 पुट करोगे तो अलग वैल्यू आएगी, x को पाई बाय 2 पुट करोगे तो अलग वैल्यू आएगी. आपका फंक्शन कन्वर्जेंट फॉर ऑल वैल्यूज ऑफ x मैंने बता दिया, बट अब अलग अलग x के लिए सीरीज का सम तो अलग अलग होगा ना.
तो हमें क्वेश्चन कह रहे हैं कि
हाँ,
ये
कि
सीरीज
आपको
x
एक
इज इक्वल टू 0 पे कौन सी वैल्यू पे कन्वर्ज कर रही है,
हाँ
ये बताओ.
ये क्वेश्चन है. या दिस इज द क्वेश्चन दैट एट व्हाट वैल्यू टू व्हाट वैल्यू दिस सीरीज इज कन्वर्जिंग इफ x इज 0. अब ये उतना ट्रिवियल नहीं है. अब ये कह रहा है कि अगर तो कंटिन्यूटी का पॉइंट है तब तो ये f ऑफ सीधा दोनों तरफ x 0 डाल दो एंड यू विल गेट द आंसर. अब वो मैंने आपको सीधा फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन से करके दिखाया है कि कंटिन्यूटी पॉइंट पे एक्चुअल में उसी वैल्यू को कन्वर्ज करती है. अब राइट हैंड साइड पे यहाँ पे आप x इक्वल टू 0 डालो, व्हाट डू यू गेट 0. लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे f ऑफ x को 0 डालो, व्हाट डू यू गेट 0. सो जहां कंटिन्यूटी है पॉइंट्स पे वहां पे लेफ्ट हैंड साइड मींस फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन से और सीरीज से सेम आंसर आता है, राइट. इसीलिए ये जो मैंने स्टेटमेंट लिख दी है कि fx इसके इक्वल होगा, बट दिस इज मेकिंग सेंस ओनली फॉर those points where we have continuity. discontinuity point पे ये नहीं होता है, इसीलिए उनके लिए अलग है तरीके लिमिट निकालने के. आप राइट हैंड साइड से निकालोगे यू विल गेट वैल्यू, लेफ्ट हैंड साइड से सीधे फंक्शन में डाल के निकालोगे वो मैच नहीं करेगी, राइट. सो दैट इज वाई हम ये इक्वालिटी यूज नहीं करते हैं. तो ये रिजल्ट कह रहा है कि सिर्फ जो कंटिन्यूस पॉइंट्स हैं जहां पे सीरीज कंटिन्यूस है वहां पे ये फंक्शन डेफिनेशन एग्जैक्टली मैच कर जाएगी. तो चाहे आप सीरीज से पॉइंट x इक्वल्स टू 0 पुट करके निकालो या फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन से निकालो, यू विल गेट द सेम आंसर. इज दिस फाइन?
यस मैम. मैम और ये सिर्फ हमें -l to l का ही क्वेश्चन आएगा, उससे आगे डोमेन का नहीं आएगा हमें?
वो तो उसके बाद तो पीरियोडिक है ना फंक्शन, सेम ही वैल्यूज लेगा.
ओके मैम, तो
आप
फोरियर
किसी भी
सीरीज की वैल्यू भी
पॉइंट को,
पीरियोडिक होगी फिर?
हाँ ये पीरियोडिक ही तो है. sin x sin 2x वो सेम रिपीट वो नहीं शुरू हो जाएंगी वैल्यूज. आप डोमेन के बाहर का पॉइंट पुट करते हो, मान लो पाई बाय 2 पुट करते हो, बट पाई बाय 2 में बोलू नहीं, पाई बाय 2 नहीं 5 पाई बाय 2 पुट करो, तो 5 पाई बाय 2 को यू कैन ऑलवेज ब्रिंग बैक कि वो आपके पीरियड में 0 to 2 पाई में या -पाई टू पाई में कौन से पॉइंट के साथ मैच होता है, राइट. वी कैन ऑलवेज डू दैट विद पीरियोडिक टर्म्स. साइन को साइन इनके साथ तो हम हमेशा ऐसे कर सकते हैं कि अगर आपको 360 डिग्री से बड़ा एंगल मिलता है या जो कोई ऐसा एंगल मिलता है जो -पाई टू पाई में नहीं लाई करता है, वी कैन ऑलवेज ब्रिंग इट बैक टू -पाई एंड पाई यूजिंग द ट्रिग्नोमेट्रिक रिलेशनशिप्स. बट दैट इज व्हाट आई एम टेलिंग यू. आपको ये करना ही नहीं है, ये सिर्फ एक वैलिडेशन होगी जो आप कर सकते हो कि अच्छा राइट हैंड साइड से निकाल के देखते हैं क्या वैल्यू आ रही है और लेफ्ट हैंड साइड से निकाल के देखते हैं. वी दिस रिजल्ट विच आई हैव जस्ट स्टेटेड अबव, ये आपको सीधा बता रहा है कि आप फंक्शन से ही निकाल सकते हो उसकी लिमिट. यू डोंट नीड टू लुक एट द फोरियर सीरीज. बट यहाँ पे मैंने वैलिडेट करके दिखाया कि देखो फोरियर सीरीज से भी निकालते तो भी एग्जैक्टली वैल्यू जो आपकी मैच कर जाती.
ओके.
Okay, let's take one more point. Say x is equal to pi by 2, right? So yes, what is the point x equals to pi by 2 lying into which category? Is it a point of continuity or discontinuity? Pi by 2 is here, right? So you just look at the function definition, right? Pi by 2 में left तरफ से right तरफ से same value है. The function is continuously defined from minus pi to pi में कोई भी break नहीं है उसमें. There is no jump discontinuity. So जिस point पे jump, क्योंकि ये functions वही हैं जिनमें सिर्फ एक ही तरह की discontinuity हो सकती है, and that is jump discontinuity. तो अगर jump discontinuity नहीं है उस point पे means, और वो point end point नहीं है आपके interval का, so that means ये भी जो है आपका कंटिन्यूअस, इस पॉइंट पे भी आपका फंक्शन क्या है, कंटिन्यूअस है. तो इस पे भी अगर आपको सीरीज की लिमिट निकालनी है, सो द फोरियर सीरीज एट एक्स इज इक्वल टू पाई बाय 2 कन्वर्ज टू एफ ऑफ पाई बाय 2. एंड व्हाट इज एफ ऑफ पाई बाय 2? व्हाट इज एफ ऑफ पाई बाय 2? f of x is given to you, right? So f of pi by 2 is pi by 2. So that is the limit. अब आप ये चीज अब बोलोगे कि इसको भी हम सीरीज से वैलिडेट करके दिखाएं, तो सीरीज में क्या होगा, एफ वैल्यू पाई बाय 2 है, राइट साइड पे क्या है, 2 साइन पाई बाय 2 माइनस साइन 2 पाई बाय 2 बाय 2 प्लस साइन 3 पाई बाय 2 by 3 minus and so on. So what is going to happen? 1 minus, what is sine 2 pi by 2? Sine pi, right? So sine pi is 0. Then sine 3 pi by 2 is negative. Then इसके बाद टर्म आएगी sine 4 pi by 2 by 4. So sine 4 pi by 2 means sine 2 pi, which is 0 again. And उसके बाद टर्म आएगी minus 1 by सॉरी उसके बाद जो आपकी टर्म आएगी प्लस 1/5 आएगी, बिकॉज दिस विल बी या जस्ट अ मिनट, साइन एक्स माइनस साइन 2x by 2 3x by 3 माइनस दिस, प्लस होगी इसके नेक्स्ट टर्म 5 पाई बाई 2 by 5 एंड 5 पाई बाई 2 विल बी या प्लस 1 हो जाएगा. सो बेसिकली यू विल गेट द सीरीज दिस. अब राइट हैंड साइड पे जैसे यहाँ तो 0 0 आ गया था सीधा, क्योंकि वो एग्जैक्टली मैच कर गया था, तो ऑब्वियसली एग्जैक्टली मैच कभी भी नहीं करेगा, बिकॉज ऑन लेफ्ट हैंड साइड यू हैव अ इरेशनल नंबर, ऑन राइट हैंड साइड यू हैव द रैशनल नंबर्स, बट दिस विल बी अप्रोक्सीमेटली मैचिंग. सो दिस इज द सेम थिंग लाइक जो हम कहते हैं कि अगर एक जीपी सीरीज का सम आप 2 लिखते हो, वो कभी भी एग्जैक्ट नहीं होता है, वो अप्रोक्सीमेट सम होता है, बिकॉज अब आप इस सीरीज का एक्सपेंशन का टर्म्स ऐड करते जाओ, यू विल गेट इवेंचुअली इट इज रीचिंग टू पाई बाय 2. पाई बाय 4 इज बेसिकली दिस, और ये ट्रू होता है. You remember this is the expansion which I started on the very first day when we started discussing Fourier series. I gave you this expansion, tan inverse x is x minus x cube by 3 plus x raised to power 5 by 5. If you put x equals to 1, you will get pi by 4 is 1 minus 1 by 3 plus 1 minus 1 by 5. You see, this is the same thing coming from the Fourier series of that function and this function. वो अलग रिजल्ट है. सो आई जस्ट होप दिस इज क्लियर. ये जो मैं राइट हैंड साइड पे कर रही हूँ ये एक्स्ट्रा है, जस्ट टू शो यू कि फोरियर सीरीज से भी वही आंसर आता है, बट आपको जो क्वेश्चंस में पूछा जाएगा वो सिर्फ यही है. आपको पॉइंट दिया गया है, आपको देखना है वो कंटिन्यूटी का पॉइंट है कि डिसकंटिन्यूटी का पॉइंट है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग आपको लिमिट निकाल लेंगे, राइट. सो नाउ लेट मी टेक वन मोर पॉइंट, x इज इक्वल टू पाई. पहले दोनों पॉइंट्स पे फंक्शन कंटिन्यूअस था. नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग एट x इक्वल्स टू पाई? x equals to pi happens to be the end point. So end points के लिए क्या आपका point कहता है result? At end points, the series is going to converge to half of left hand limit at right hand point plus right hand limit. Means it's an average. आपको average लेना है क्योंकि अलग अलग वैल्यू ले रहा है वो. एंड पॉइंट पे हमेशा आपकी डिसकंटिन्यूटी होगी, आपके द वे द काइंड ऑफ फंक्शंस यू आर डिफाइनिंग. सो लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट और राइट हैंड लिमिट उस पर जो भी वैल्यू आएगी उनका आपको एवरेज ले लेना है. आई विल शो यू दिस व्हाट डज इट मीन. सो पाई पे क्या हो रहा है, अब आपको जो फंक्शन की डेफिनेशन गिवन है वो पाई अब राइट हैंड पॉइंट है, तो राइट हैंड पॉइंट की लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट निकाल सकते हो आप, राइट, यहां से. एंड सिमिलरली पाई पे राइट हैंड लिमिट कैसे निकालोगे, दिस इज द क्वेश्चन. राइट एंड पॉइंट पे यू विल बी ऑलवेज कंप्यूटिंग लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट, और लेफ्ट एंड पॉइंट पे यू विल बी कंप्यूटिंग द राइट हैंड लिमिट. सो हम पाई पे सीरीज की कन्वर्जेंस डिटरमाइन करना चाहते हैं. सो हमने इसकी लेफ्ट हैंड वैल्यू तो देख ली कि कहाँ अप्रोच कर रही है. सो व्हाट इज हैपनिंग टू द राइट ऑफ दिस पॉइंट, एक्चुअली बिकॉज फंक्शन पीरियोडिक है तो वो सेम वैल्यूज आना शुरू हो जाती हैं. तो जो माइनस पाई पे वैल्यू थी वही वैल्यू यहाँ पे आएगी. सो इसकी लेफ्ट से ये लिमिट है, राइट से वो लिमिट है जो माइनस पाई पे थी. माइनस पाई पे कौन सी लिमिट थी, राइट वाली, बिकॉज माइनस पाई आपका लेफ्ट हैंड पॉइंट है, राइट. सो जो आपको इस पॉइंट पे फंक्शन की लिमिट चाहिए, सीरीज की कन्वर्जेंस की लिमिट चाहिए, सो इट इज द दिस लिमिट वैल्यू, उनका आपको क्या लेना पड़ेगा, एवरेज. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट इज राइट एंड पॉइंट पे जो लिमिट है और लेफ्ट हैंड पॉइंट पे जो लिमिट है. अब राइट हैंड पॉइंट पे सिर्फ लेफ्ट हैंड लिमिट एग्जिस्ट करेगी बिकॉज आपका फंक्शन की डोमेन ये है. पाई पे राइट हैंड लिमिट का हमें पता ही नहीं है क्योंकि पाई के बाहर फंक्शन की वैल्यू क्या है, वी डू नॉट नो, राइट. सिमिलरली लेफ्ट हैंड पॉइंट पे आपकी राइट हैंड लिमिट एग्जिस्ट करेगी. सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस हैज बीन फ्रेम्ड लाइक दिस मैथमेटिकली. सो आपको इसको यूज करना है टू गेट द आंसर. So let me do the calculation. So at x is equal to pi, your series converge to half of, now it is the left hand limit at pi plus right hand limit at minus pi. So that is symbolically correct, right? That is the way I'm writing. This is the left hand limit at the right hand point. This is the right hand limit at the left hand point. So can you tell me the value of these limits? Yes. Can you tell me the value of this limit? Looking at your function, fx is equal to x. So what is the function value from the right hand side of minus pi and left hand side of pi? So this is actually given by this only. fx is equal to x. So यहाँ पे ये वैल्यू जो होगी ये आपकी पाई है और ये वैल्यू का मैग्नीट्यूड आपका है माइनस पाई, बिकॉज fx इज इक्वल टू x है ना. सो जहां जो भी आपका x है वही आपकी पाई वैल्यू है. सो दिस इज पाई and this is minus pi. So this is answer is 0. Is this fine? Is this calculation fine? Yes, please ask if you have doubts. अब ये भी अगर आप सीरीज से वैलिडेट करके देखना चाहते हो, बिकॉज मैंने आपको 0 और पाई बाय 2 की वैलिडेशन दिखाई है, सो ये भी आप सीरीज से वैलिडेट कर सकते हो. सीरीज क्या थी आपकी, 2 साइन एक्स माइनस साइन 2x बाई 2 प्लस साइन 3x बाई 3. इसमें आप x इज इक्वल टू पाई सब्सिट्यूट करोगे. व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ दिस सीरीज, दिस सीरीज गोज टू 0. आपकी लिमिट भी क्या आई है, 0, राइट. सो दे आर मैचिंग. So means it's just a validation of the result I'm telling you. So with this example we have seen, let's do one more example, but before moving to the next example I want to know whether you are clear on this or not. Right, so let me just take the same question which we were discussing in the beginning. So for that you need to prove a result. Let me just write down example number 2. So for the function 0 sin x, this is the same example we started in the beginning. We already know its Fourier series expansion, right? We already know its Fourier series expansion. So they are asking now, derive the Fourier series expansion of fx. Now this is something we have already done, so I'll use that directly and prove that. So now there is some expression which they're giving us to prove. Pi by 4 is 1 by 2 plus, sorry, pi by 4 is 1 by 2 plus this minus this and so on. So these kind of questions are there. So the first part is we have already derived the Fourier series expansion, so I'm just directly going to write that, and then I will tell you how to derive that, prove that what they are saying. So Fourier series is 1 by pi plus 1 by 2 sine x. Remember, there was just one term coming of b1 1 by 2 sine x plus 1 by pi summation n is equal to 2 to infinity minus 1 raised to power this pi n square minus 1 into cos nx. This is the same function. Let me just show you again if I can see that. Yeah, this is the example which we just discussed today. So this is the same expression which I'm using, and somewhere when you were writing ans, yes, this is pi here, pi. So let me just, yeah, is it fine? So we already know the Fourier series. Now what they're asking you to prove this expression, so you have to see how this expression can be derived from this expansion. So that means this can be derived from here, this can be derived from here by a particular value of x, because इसमें x है, आप x के एक particular value substitute करोगे, then you will see that particular series, because that expression which they are asking you to prove is actually clearly independent of any x value. So that is also an infinite series expansion, but there is no x value there. So that means you have to choose a particular value of x so that you are able to prove this. So now the only underlying question is what particular value of x should be chosen, right? What value of x should we choose so that we get this one, right? So you start looking at these terms, you start comparing that how these terms are going to be obtained. So you look at these pattern 1 into 3, 3 into 5, 5 into 7. So if I write this in simpler form, so this is n minus 1 into n plus 1 cos of nx, right? For the moment you just forget cos nx. For the moment you just try to expand this. So when you put n is equal to 2, what is the term you are going to get? Minus 1 raised to power 2 plus 1 minus 1 by 2 minus 1 into 2 plus 1 cos 2x, right? When you put n is equal to 3, what is the term you will be getting? 3 minus 1 into 3 plus 1 cos 3x. Now you look at the denominator of this. This is 1 into 3. 2 minus 1 is 1, 2 plus 1 is 3. And you look at the denominator of this. What is this? 2 into 4. So that means this denominator we need, this denominator we do not need. You look at the series which you want to prove. You look at the expression you want to prove. You want to prove the terms considering there are only 1 into 3, 3 into 5, 5 into 7, right? Similarly, I'll show you. If you put n is equal to 4, you will get minus 1 raised to power 4 plus 1 minus 1 by 4 minus 1 into 4 plus 1 cos 4x. So you look at the denominator. So this is 3 into 5. So that means we need this term, but we do not need this term. So this information will help you to identify what x should I choose so that I retain cos 2x, I retain cos 4x, but I do not retain cos 3x, right? So if I choose x is equal to pi by 2, so I know that cosine at odd multiples of pi by 2 will become 0 because coefficient is definitely non-zero. If you want to eliminate this particular term, so the only way to do that is isko 0 banna padega. So cos 3x is becoming 0, And similarly you will say cos 5x is becoming 0, cos 7x is becoming 0. So cos odd multiple of x is becoming 0. So what x should I take? So obviously it should be pi by 2, because I know that the odd multiple of pi by 2 cosine is 0. So this gives me a hint that I should choose x is equal to pi by 2. So this is the first thing which I was trying to explain, that in these kind of questions we will see that we already have the Fourier series. The important task is they will not tell you. Like in the previous question, they told you that put this x, put that x. But in this question, they are not telling you. So it's very intelligently you have to figure out that what x should I substitute so that I am getting closer to it. And once you get that value of x, the things are easy after that. Is it clear? Is this point clear? How I'm going to choose x is equal to pi by 2? Right? So this calculation, this pattern identification was done only to find the value of x. So now once you identified x is equal to pi by 2, then you already can put the pi by 2 in the Fourier series and you will get certain expression. I will do that. But here you see this is a form of an equation. This is not just an expansion. This is in the form of an identity, that there is also something on the left hand side also. It's not just a series. It's a identity which needs to be proven. It's an equation, right? So that means on this should also be equal to something. Now you should know to what value this is equal, and for that you have to use the same information कि वो जो pi by 2 है, जो point है जो आप substitute करोगे, whether that is a point of discontinuity, whether that is a point of continuity, or whether that is a end point. So if you look at the function definition, pi by 2 will lie here from 0 to pi, and the only possible point of continuity or discontinuity is 0. The only possible point of discontinuity is 0, although हम देखेंगे कि 0 पे भी continuous है, but pi by 2 पे the function is definitely a continuous one, because it is lying inside its this piece. And so x is equal to pi by 2 is actually the point of continuity. So at the point of continuity, we know that when you will be putting x is equal to pi by 2 in the Fourier series, so actually from left hand side, it will be exactly equal to that. So this is the Fourier series, which you already know. So here you have to put x is equal to pi by 2, and I have got now, because x is equal to pi by 2 is a point of continuity, therefore left hand side पे भी it will be the function value at pi by 2. अगर ये discontinuity का point होता, then I would have used other way to got the left hand side expression. But continuity points पे हमेशा आसान होता है, सीधा function की value ही होती है. Now what is f of pi by 2? It is 1 if you look at the function definition. And on right hand side, if you put pi by 2, so it will be 1 by pi plus 1 by 2. Sin pi by 2 1 हो जाएगा, plus 1 by pi. अब आप इसमें pi by 2 सब्सिट्यूट करोगे, so you have already seen कि जो cos के 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2, वो वाले multiples खत्म हो जाएंगे. So आपके पास terms जो आएंगी, they will be this. So what was the first term which was coming over here? So I'm directly now writing that. Yes. So you will be getting, okay, we are done with time. We'll continue this tomorrow, right? The next lecture. We'll continue with this question next time. Yeah, thank you.